Hey, what up, Neptune Nation? This is Patrick from Neptune Systems, and I'm here with Vic from Worldwide Corals.
What's up, guys?
We were just hanging out with Vic. We were over at Reefapalooza, New York. Amazing event.
Thank you, bro. Thank you.
We had a great time. We were introducing and showing off our two new products. We've got the Neptune Trident NP and the Dose Quiet Drive here.
Yeah, and you have a lot of things going on. I had a lot of questions about that. So I figured why not come here and check it out since we're only, an hour and a half away from the Meadowlands Exposition Center?
A great time to stop by. You all know Vic, he's not the #1 automation guy out there.
Yeah, it's not just automation. I'm just not good with technology. I've never been into that stuff, and I try to keep it very, very simple. But as of lately, as things keep on growing, just the square footage, the amount of tanks, the size of these tanks, the amount of money that we put into these display tanks, we have to make sure that they're safe from all angles. And as much as I keep on fighting it, there's a lot of goods and a lot of things that, for me personally, I think they're not needed. But I was having a discussion with Patrick earlier, and you have a lot of valid points trying to talk me into why we should be getting one. And you talked me into, we're going to do a nice display into the 1,500-gallon tank. I told you a few issues that I was having, and
so we decided we're gonna film this. We're gonna go blow by blow. I'm like, all right, let's lay it down. I want to lay down a few scenarios where I think, hey, even if you're just like curious about how do I make my tank safer for my inhabitants, like how can I do that without totally going overboard, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of people out there that say, oh, Neptune Systems, you have to be a brainiac or computer programmer. Well, I'm here to say it doesn't have to be that way.
Well, you did a pretty good job on convincing me, because it's not easy to talk me into adding controllers. Again, it's something that I've been always hesitant, because I feel like some of the failure points, I've been able to deal with them, but you got to keep it so basic that anyone who loves this new equipment, which is all good equipment out there, and I'm not talking about just specific control, I'm talking about heaters, just technology in general in the hobby. The more of these things that you adapt, you have to be able to control them. And it's inevitable for me to do it, and I think it's a good place to start with just one tank.
Well, I think it's a smart way to think about it. When I try to imagine, what is Neptune, what are we able to accomplish, what are we able to do that's nowhere else can you kind of figure this stuff out, and how can you be useful? Because when you think about equipment, and I've been manufacturing equipment for a long time.
Since I know you.
Right, and at a long enough timeline, every single piece of equipment is going to fail. If you go out long enough, it's 100% guarantee.
Yeah.
So
nothing lasts forever.
Nothing lasts forever, and maybe you're lucky. Maybe you've got the aquarium with the return pump that never got clogged, or the heater that never failed. But if you've been in this industry long enough, if you've been a hobbyist long enough, shit ain't always go to plan.
They
right?
fail.
They fail. So, how can we leverage technology, not just for technology's sake, but to be useful?
Yeah.
So let you know when something's going wrong.
So what's funny, before this conversation started with you and me earlier, Josh is actually, for those of you that are watching, we have two 100-gallon tanks right next to the register. One is the Ecotech tank, the other one's the aqua-elimination tank. The aqua-elimination tank, we're switching it. We recently added an IOS tank in there, and Josh wants to fully automate this tank, just to explain to our customers what is it that this fully automated things that they do. Because think about it, if you remember correctly, 10 years ago, if I remember, 11 years ago in 2013, there was a company that is no longer in business, I forgot the name, that they were trying to come out with this little kiosk where you were gonna get this water test, and the technology was still just too fresh.
Oh, I remember that guy.
Yeah, I know.
I remember that guy.
But anyways, you get the point where I'm going with it. So now,
well, you know what? That ended up being the Trident.
Yes.
Okay. So that guy had it was a big vending machine essentially that you would put in the store. He actually got a number of stores who will not be named to put like 50 grand down for one of these machines. But in effect, all it did was automate the testing kits that we use today, like Saltwater, right? Red Sea, NIOS, all the other kits you can go out and buy. It was just doing automation, right?
Yeah. So that's my whole point. It's been 11 years since I remember that. That was 2013. We're in 2024. I was like, what do you mean you put your water in there and they give you a test for multiple things? And now it's getting to the point where you can make an aquarium. I mean, it's not what I've done, but I've seen tanks that automated water changes, automated testing, automated feeding. I mean, I even seen automated glass cleaner.
Yep.
I mean, if you really automate all the glass cleaning, the feeding, your water changes and your water testing, then we're just making sure that the equipment is operating correctly at that point. So it's got that advanced, I guess, right?
Well, here's where you need to be careful, right? If you automate away the aquarist, you're going to actually put yourself into danger.
Yeah.
Because there's a connection that you have to have with your tank. If you're not looking at your tank, it's not going to thrive. It's not going to thrive. Something's going to happen, and I don't care what the parameters say. Something's going to happen that you don't expect.
Your eyes will tell you before the numbers.
Your eyes are going to tell you before the numbers, and your corals are going to tell you.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm a big advocate about doing that. All this looking all the time, observing. If you don't look at your tank every single day, you're gonna miss out a lot. And funny you say that. So it's no secret we do installation and maintenance. And when we go to our customer's house when we're doing the maintenance, some of them have beautiful tanks. The ones that have the most beautiful tanks are the ones that they're hobbyists. That they're too busy and they hire us to do the work that they don't want to do. The water changes, the water testing, cleaning the protein skimmer. But they're cleaning their glass every other day. They're feeding their tank. They know the name of the animals, not just an aquarium to look at. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely.
So you have to be involved with your aquarium. It shouldn't be you're paying someone to come in an hour or two and everything is going to be taken care of. You have to be engaged with your own aquarium. No matter how many hours you do it or you don't. But, don't matter how many hours someone spent taking care of your tank, if it's 2 hours, 4 hours, 6 hours, if it's 3 times a week, let's say that person comes, I still think you need to look at your aquarium every single day.
Absolutely. You know, when I have 3 tanks in my house. Vic just actually saw my tanks, and I got some issues going on, but we're working on it.
Yeah.
Stability is key, right?
Yeah.
But the reality of what the Neptune system can do, and what I'm so excited about the NP. And in conjunction with the dose, is that it gives you the opportunity to have testing done multiple times a day on the parameters that matter. And I'm not saying necessarily to just control things, because people get into this mindset of, well, I'm going to fully automate it. The calcium levels are going to be controlled by the dose, the NP, and then or the Trident, and then the doser. But my philosophy is these devices are really trajectory devices. They tell you if something's headed a particular direction, you're going to know sooner, and you're going to be able to take action on that information.
Gotcha.
And that's giving you the transparency to see your parameters and give you an advantage over the chaos that is a reef aquarium.
Yeah.
So that you'll have more ability to have stability over time, and then make those small changes very deliberately. And I'm guilty as anyone else. Like I make changes too fast, and my corals don't like it. My corals don't like it. I'm a tinkerer, but worldwide, you guys are the shining example of just stick to the basics and be consistent.
Yeah.
And I mean, the results, they speak for themselves.
Yeah, thank you, man. And definitely, we got some talking to do about your tanks, buddy. We didn't have enough time, but I'm gonna be giving you a call later. But no, seriously, one of the advantages that I see is, let's say I test my water once a week and I use visual to see what's going on with my tank. And I tested my water yesterday and everything's beautiful. But for some reason, 2 or 3 days from now on, I'm still 4 days away from doing my next water test. My corals don't look good for some reason. It's already, now I have to make the adjustment after there was a hit on my tank. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it might not possibly there, but it's already too late. Versus like, it could have been like, my numbers dropped a little bit just by taking a glance at the application or something along those lines.
Right.
So I'm starting to see how it can be beneficial in different aspects.
Well, I'll use an example of alkalinity, right? Alkalinity is a parameter that, 6, 7 years ago, people really started to focus on and try to keep exactly stable. And if you get in a situation where you're dosing multiple ways that you're introducing alkalinity in your tank, for me particularly, I have Calcwaser running now. That's a new addition, my latest tinkering. But I've also got sodium carbonate and sodium bicarbonate. All of those can add alkalinity, and I've used them differently over different times. But if I make a mistake, and let's say I accidentally leave a dosing pump running,
yeah.
And if I have a Trident running on that system, within 8 hours, it's going to notice that I have a spike. And I've got my system set up so that my Trident doesn't control my dosing. But if it sees something go out of whack, it'll cut the source.
Gotcha.
Right? So it stops all my sources of alkalinity at that point, and it sends me a notification. So it's just this backup safety that I have. It's this backstop that's giving me the information and then allowing me to make action before it goes too far.
See, that makes me feel more comfortable. Because if you watch a lot of my videos, when I see people with the Trident, the first thing that I ask, I go, how often do you test? And you let the dose make the right adjustments. And about 8 out of 10, they say, no, I just do it for the testing so I can make the right adjustments. And you're right. It's good to know your salinity, your pH, your temperature at all times, your alkalinity, getting readings of that. Mm-hmm. Those are the important parameters, if you ask me, just to know those things.
And I sanity check myself, right? So once a week, sanity check.
Okay.
So once a week, I run my HANA checkers just to see, hey, are these parameters still in line with another measurement device? And when you have a Trident ACM, alkalinity, calcium, magnesium, there's a calibration solution. So after you switch to a new set of reagents, you need to recalibrate. But I want to have a sanity check. So every so often I'll just make sure that the numbers that I'm seeing match up to the numbers that.
So then you use your own test kit at the point just to make sure the numbers are matching.
Well, and I think for me it's about validating my understanding over time and validating my trust in the device, and it is rock solid at being super precise in the amount of reagents that it's giving each time. It takes away this human element of error than test kits.
Yeah.
I mean, I love the HANA stuff, but I have done hundreds of HANA tests over the last few months, getting ready for this NP launch, right? So we validate ourselves and make sure that we see, that we're getting great results.
Oh, knowing you have no doubt, Pat.
So, as I fine-tuned the procedures, and I realized that even just testing the same water over and over again. We always tell people, if they're curious and they think that their results on the Trident are wrong, I'm like, well, run the same test you're comparing it against 3 times.
It's true.
And see what results you're getting. And I'll tell you from experience, it is interesting to see their responses.
Cool. So I'm going to install this on the 1500. We're working on the fully automated 100-gallon tank, the aqua-elimination tank we call it. If I have any issues, I'm going to give you a call.
Well, all right, man, and we're gonna set this up. I think we're gonna deck you guys and make sure that you have the setup that we think will be most effective to accomplish your particular needs at Worldwide. And that's the cool thing about Neptune. There's so many modules that we can kind of customize and make things specific. You can build this thing however you want, but we'll talk to Josh and see what's really important to you.
Yeah, Josh can talk the lingo a little better when it comes to this technology, I think.
Yeah, he's got the magic touch.
Yeah, cool, man. So I'll be seeing you soon, and we'll be installing this thing.
Thanks for coming by.
Thanks, buddy.